Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Mav broadcast of the Zwift Racing League. We are in the season 2022-23, and this is the opener of round 2. We are out on the France course, actually, for the Roule de Ma Poule. The women are out on course. We're broadcasting the EMEA East for the elite women. Dave, this course is interesting as Petite KOM twice. They're taking on the Aqueduct once, the Marina Sprint once, as well as the sprint out in the middle of nowhere town. Which one is that called? I have to recall that one. But there's going to be I was talking a little bit about this yesterday. Bam up front, boom, boom, sprint, and then boom, bam again up the Petite KOM. It's like 27K and 1, 2, 3 sprint segments and a final segment. Plus, right from the get-go, there's a punch in the face with the Petite KOM that the women are actually out on right now.
You sound like an American football commentator. Boom, bam. It definitely, and congratulations, by the way, Nathan, from the entire Zwift community. I had a few people reaching out to make sure that I said congratulations to you and Gabby. So welcome back. Yeah, can't let that just go by unnoticed. So, the France world, Nathan, I feel like we haven't been here for a little while. One thing that I love coming into this race is that we've had a nice chance to stay active with Wednesday Worlds and Ride Like a Champ. So we haven't completely lost touch with things. And one thing that hasn't changed is how strong the Swedes are out here. They're going to be tough today. So you have things to look at. We've got a new season, but we do have some of the cast of characters that are proven quality athletes out here. And we'll be talking about a lot of them today. I mean, I see the world champion is with us. Los Aragis is taking the start today for Aeonian. And Nathan, like Daniela Strate, the Romanian rider, is in the field. She comes in as the top ranked Zwifter. So this is going to be, I use the term Donnybrook. It's going to be bedlam, left, right, and center craziness today. Because you're right. I mean, you got to take that first punch, though, to be even in the fight, right? Can't have a glass jaw out here.
100%. Well, talking about glass punch, that's not going to be Rachel Elliott. Rachel Elliott on the front, actually. Long time standing. And I think she's trying to see if the group has a glass jaw, perhaps, as she was on the front just a moment ago.
Not. Yeah. Boy, have we learned that, Nathan, right? Through the years, one of the truly defines legend.
Yeah, and I just saw she was given a little bit of a go off the front here for just a moment. The ladies did take a right-hand turn. Now, this is the reverse of what you would usually do if you took off from the marina area for the Pens, and they head directly up this Petite KOM. They're about quarter of the way up the climb here so far. Now, on the right-hand side, up in the upper right-hand corner, you do see that long, steady grind. That's actually the Ventoux climb. That is not, if you look at that course profile, they got a long ways to go. Nope, it's not actually that far to go to the top of the left-hand turn. They'll make their way down the opposite direction of the Petite KOM. Now, this is all about up front. The climb itself, just putting some sting in the legs. Because, Dave, there are no points available over the top of this climb for the teams that are racing in this points race.
Right, you do get a power-up, Nathan. Everyone gets a power-up as you go through. That's 3.1K in out here today. It's funny you mentioned Ventoux, as it just snowed on Ventoux yesterday. So the perfect time to get back to esports racing here on Zwift. That Aqueduct KOM, Nathan, that's where the first fastest through segment and first across the line. If you've been following along with the Zwift Grand Prix on Fridays, you've seen a whole new style of racing. We're back to just smash mouth bike racing out here. This is scratch racing, more or less, with some some points thrown into the mix. We'll have some sprints, some fastest through segments, just good old-fashioned WTRL, ZRL racing. And it looks like Rachel Elliott, irrepressible out here in that Socks for Watts kit. Nathan, I noticed, though, Rachel making her way back onto Zwift is she doesn't carry a whole lot of points right now, as she'll start building back up as the season gets underway. But she's always one of the most talented and threat as far as a threat in a breakaway. Rachel is absolutely the poster woman for that.
Yeah, and this is an interesting move here. Now, we do see Lou Bates using invisibility power-up. I don't think that's for any reason other than to grab a different power-up over the top of this climb. But Elliott, I think, pressing the pace with Bates here because I think there is a little bit of hope in their pedal pushing here right now to try and perhaps get away, because the downhill here, if they work together, it will be pretty intense from the group. The group will be rolling very fast. If they're able to hold on to this 10 seconds, almost 10 seconds, 8 seconds, though, at the bottom of this, the rest of the group may sleep just a little bit. But the amount of power that's in here, I think the rest of this group is trusting the roll through and the snowball effect. Rachel's going to really have to pull Lou Bates along. The question is, are they on the same team, Dave? I don't think so. We're seeing Bates here with 3R and Socks for Watts. So there are two teams up ahead. The other teams, Cryogen, SZ, Aeonian, they're the ones that are going to have to do the work, because I think 3R and Socks for Watts are just going to sit in, don't you think, Dave?
I would. I absolutely would, Nathan. And I have to say, Lou Bates, don't sleep on Lou. Remember how impressive she was last week in the Grand Prix? Actually, I should make it 2 weeks ago in the Zwift Grand Prix. She's a huge talent and a proven quantity. It's not like she's coming out of the woodwork on us. She's been around for a couple of years. So I absolutely look at Lou Bates as one of the most talented women racing in esports right now. And you combine her with Rachel Elliott, and you got yourself two very interesting riders off the front. Although now we can go back to this group, Nathan, as the dynamics out here make it very, very hard. Very, very hard to hold off a strong peloton like this when they're rolling full tilt boogie.
I think they actually caught them so quickly. They just got sucked right into that pack here. So it does look like all been brought together. Now, on the other side of it, Dave, behind here, 5 seconds back, this is the torture that ends up happening on a downhill, though, if you do find yourself only a second or two. Coalition with 4, Dave, trying to work together and Rave just ahead, it looks like, with Henneken as well as it can be Esther from Rose. Beast mode here. So this is going to be a 7 rider or so, to get my math right there. It looks like 7 riders trying to get back on terms. 9 seconds up. That pack up ahead is going to have to really sleep a little bit and keep things quiet before the Aqua climb. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they do, Dave. If they do take a chill, it could be a situation where they're all looking forward to the Aqua climb, and this 10 seconds could come back. And you may have a couple of sprinters in here looking for some points up ahead that they're not able to grab because of that Petite KOM up front, right? You have sprinters in there that get dropped early on because this Petite KOM, man, they do not have that role to play anymore. So perhaps a little bit of work, but at 12 seconds, not sure it's happening.
Really astute analysis, Nathan. And what I would say here is, once you've dropped these sprinters, I'm surprised this group isn't working a little harder to hold them off, to tell you the truth, because it's such an interesting course that we've got here in France today. Roule ma poule. It's actually a French saying that the American equivalent would be "let's roll." Right when you're sitting at the coffee shop, Nathan, and you've hit that the momentum is now time for it to go from coffee drinking to bike riding. A quick roule ma poule. It's ma poule, hen is what it means in French, right? So it's sort of an affectionate term, like, come on, chickens, let's go, right?
I had no idea. I love that. I'm gonna have to use that from now on,
cool,
Dave.
I thought.
Whenever I'm at the coffee shop, roule ma poule is gonna be people are gonna, I don't know
chickens.
If that's gonna be looked that great. Like in America, though, we might not get the best. Like, what is that guy asking me to do? I don't know if that was appropriate. Whatever he just said.
It's definitely a term of affection. Right. I love those kind of things. It's actually, it speaks to the people at Zwift who work so hard to keep this fun and creative. So it gives us a moment to catch our breath. It's 26K of racing today, Nathan. I think that this fastest through segment, because one thing is that they only get one crack at it today. We're not doing laps out here per se. So you won't get another shot at the fastest through segment, meaning it's going to be all in, no doubt. That banner is at 9.1K in, so it's coming up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at who is in this. Now, this is going to be the league standings as of no points gained, obviously. This is the first race, but we do have Beast Mode presented by Rose is in here. Aquila ESRT. Beast Mode presented by Rose Courage is in here, as well as Aeonian ART. Sox Watts Polka Dot Bombs. ABR Phoenix. Race 3R Luna Chicks. Coalition Beta Women Team. NL, Ladies, A Elite, and Rave On are what we have on the top 10. Let's see if I can scroll this down a little bit. Maybe it's only a 10 total in for this teams for this league, but that is going to be the current league that we are looking at. This is going to be the EMEA East for the women. We will be covering the West next week. No worries on that. And the next, I did see the comments coming on through. Thanks a lot for joining in over at the chat. We are live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, as well as Twitter. But we will be covering the next up will be the men's race at the hour, 1 p.m. CST. I believe that it says it's an EMEA W East. I'm not sure if we had a little bit of change up in the terminology, but on Zwift Power, that is the one that we are looking at to cover. So if you are wondering what is going to be covered today, those are the two EMEAs that we'll be on. Now, the Aqueduct Sprint coming up pretty quick here. It's about to go off, Dave, and it's been pretty chill after that climb. But I have a feeling that immediately into this Aqueduct, it's a downhill, a recovery, and then immediately another sprint.
Yeah, it definitely is. For the tactics out here, I would really key off of what the Swedes are doing, to tell you the truth. That's the white shoulders with the blue and yellow jersey. This team comes in with a very comprehensive game plan, Nathan. This sprint's going to tell us a lot, though, about who to watch out for this season. I'm looking at, Hannah Donnell on that Swedish Swifter team. She is a wattage cottage. Also, Gabrielle Norden. We've got two very strong Gabriellas in this race, actually. Actually, maybe even more than that, because Gabriella Schumann here, the Brazilian rider on Rose Beast Mode, she's going to be looking for that last climb, I would think, and the finish line points that go along with it. But there's a lot at play right now here, Nathan.
Yeah, a lot of play, and we have seen a lot of the power-ups so far. It is going to be the Arrow, the Invisibility, as well as the Steamroller. Steamroller could be an interesting one, being such a long duration on some of that Pave sprint. We do have the Marina Reverse Sprint, the Pave Reverse Sprint, and the Aqueduct Reverse Climb for the final climb that will have points available for the segments. Now, we do have a move here coming from Rachel Elliott. I think she does not have any interest in going head-to-head with any of the sprinters. Richardson here now making a response. Now it is getting into the official of the segment, so perhaps she's just going for first across the line, because I have a feeling it's going to be the fastest through segment that may be from the back of this pack. But Rachel with a 1 second gap already here. Richardson trying to come across. Here come the orange numbers, Dave.
Wow. Cornelia Engstrom also ready to hit out. You see that this is going to be insane right now. Rachel Elliott getting swarmed right before this finish line. And how about that, Gabby Schumann? And Fuego right now as the Brazilian rider has hit out with authority. That's going to be Daniela Estrate right behind here. There's the world champion coming clear in this group. Los Adagis, Nathan, it is nothing but heavy hitters up there. Wow. And what a list of riders.
Is there a little bit of a gap here now at this point? Will the ladies be able to hang on and regroup? We do see some falling off the back immediately here. Now rolling through, it's going to be Cryogen. And now, as we said, brutal. Dave, they're going to head. Schumann takes that down with a solid sprint over the top of the Aqueduct. She had a good kick, but we did see now, Dave, that this is starting to snowball effect. And can you recover and kick again is going to be the question. Because the Pave sprint, it comes up in just a minute or two.
Well, Nathan, that's exactly it here. Is I don't expect everybody to survive this one. They're going through the gauntlet out here right now. So you can see Estrate at the tail end of that group. Let's see who else is now. So it is starting to marry that chase group of 5. Nathan was able to rejoin. Let's see if anybody else is going to be able to get back in, because it is just body blow after body blow being thrown. As you look up in the right top corner there, you can see we've got a few more riders that are within shouting distance. So as we make our way by the beautiful lavender fields here, or is it lilac? I'm not even sure. It's sure beautiful.
That's a great question. What the heck kind of flowers are those? Help us out here, everybody.
Yeah, that's
those look like purple bushes. They must be lilac.
Well, I'm going to say that
lilac,
it is lilac.
Because of the purple bushes. I think you might be right there. If devs are yelling at us, how do you not know that? How do you not know what's going on?
We always disappoint, right? Look, we're still learning about dinosaurs at this point. There's a lot you have to take in the world of Zwift. So, all right, let's get back to the action, though, Nathan. As you can see, we're not even halfway in. This has been bananas out here today. So many strong women in this field. I mentioned that the world champion is taking the start here. Rave on, rather, Tennille Irish. She's got a real sprint on her as well. So,
and there she goes. Good call, Dave. Tennille Irish with an aero power up 11 watts per kilogram going on through Tennille Estrate trying to respond, but now into this pave sprint. I think Rave with the upset on the sprint going to take. Tennille just walks away with this one.
Right on
What
cue.
a kick. I mean, Dave, were you the DS? What just happened right there? You literally just called Tennille, and then out of the pack, she explodes through the pave and takes the sprint like it's nothing. Cheers to Rave on. I haven't seen them in a dominating position like this in quite a while, so it's cool to see them showing up. And Tennille, I know last season she was hanging out watching the wrap a little bit, and she goes, "Wait a second, maybe I need to not just hammer off the front all the time." And I think she's kind of gotten a little bit savvier. And this time around, look at this. She just starts throwing down some big power sprints because I have a feeling she's been timing things to reserve that energy. We didn't see her involved in an aqueduct sprint, but bam, she takes down all those points and probably fastest through segment. I think she just doubled up, Dave.
Makes me so excited to see riders progressing like Tennille Irish is right now, Nathan. That is the quantum leap that you make from being a bike rider to being a bike racer, okay? Like, bike riding is great. That's what I do. It's really fun, but bike racing, it requires a whole new brain element and understanding how to lay in wait. And I mean, it's not like when a cougar is out hunting that it just is going maniacal nonstop 24/7. It sneaks around and waits for its opportunity, right? And then pounces. And that's exactly what she did, pounced at the right moment and took the point. So we're watching. I think all of us have gotten a lot smarter about how you esports race, and a lot of these tactics apply in real life as well. I mean, that does cross-pollinate for sure. But if you want to say, hey, I'm going to give her rider of the day for that.
There you go. Tennille, awarded on the spot. Rider of the day. Bam. A little bit. I mean, it's pretty early in the broadcast, but I guess we're going for it.
I just feel confident. Right. I guess that could change. It's like a fastest through segment, Nathan. It could change.
You just keep on. It just keeps on developing as people try and outdo the Irish effect that we had here today.
Exactly.
I'm loving it.
Oh, you think that was pouncing? Watch me pounce from 40 meters. Yeah. So, Cryogen Stelvio, Nathan, one of our all-time favorite teams. Another legacy squad out here as we're in with De Jong right now. This group is, they've been through the ringer to get here at this point. So we can talk about as they're just now at the halfway point of this race, the Marina Sprint, Nathan. I guess that's really the next thing we'll start keying off of.
Yep, we're going to be looking for the Marina Sprint after that pave sprint. There was a nice little kick there from Tennille as we saw. They took it down for the Rave team. Now, again, it is fastest through segment and first across the line that will be awarding points, though, out there today. So those definitely are going to be sought after differently. Now, Tennille went so fast through that section, though, that she may have grabbed both of them. It's not often that ends up happening. We'll see once the points are calculated for us, if that is exactly what ended up going down. I am seeing from Kim Little hanging out in the broadcast, letting us know that is lavender, he believes. Lavender has grown around that area. Lavender bush, Jacqueline Renee Schneider's also letting us know. I knew it was a bush.
Thank you, guys.
That's exact. I thought it was a bush. I was like, that's not a flower. That's like, what is, well, it's some sort of a flower bush.
Yeah, I had a feeling that it was pretty much 50-50 for me with lavender or lilac. So it's no surprise
I don't know my
I made
flowers.
the wrong choice there.
I don't know my I'm allergic to spring, so like I just run.
Right, I'm sure there's a ton of crazy pollen associated with that. Thank you, Kim Little, as well, one of my favorite humans out there. He's an original racer with you, Nathan, and Rachel Elliott, for that matter. Going back to the early days of Zwift, which is about 2016.
Well, now let's calm down, Dave. Predictions at this point? Do you think it's going to stay chill, or I have a feeling we may see another Rachel Elliott move, a move from somebody who just maybe, or here's the other thing though, is that we do have the petite KOM, right? And so with that in there, a rider like Elliott might be thinking, look, I've given her 2 goes, and it hasn't worked so far. why don't I sit in and wait for that final climb and get as many points out of it as I possibly can, rather than trying to continue on with these early break situations? Because most
I
likely coming through this marina sprint, anything that's up the front, it's going to get shut down pretty quick.
I feel like, Nathan, that you also have, matured, to tell you the truth, when you talk about tactics and racing out here, because that was exactly what I would say. Well, that doesn't mean you've matured to my level, but you know what I mean. Like we've all learned a lot out here, and I would say that that is, I think, the smart play without any doubt. There's going to be a barrage that happens right after the Marina Sprint. The rider that we haven't talked about yet that I'm looking at is Luis Gamst, the Toyota Cryo rider. I'm going to be watching out for her, to tell you the truth, as she might have the perfect skill set to manage the back half of this race. Louis Gamst is Danish, and it's actually interesting how many Swedes there are, because there's no question. I'm going to throw it back to you with this, Nathan. The Swedish team is what will bring the reckoning out here. Believe me. Would you agree with that?
I last season, yes, 100%. And waiting on
Embring, Enstrom, Norden. I've got a
so
murderer's
strong.
row here, and I
It's
haven't
really it's
mentioned it.
consistency, and they are so consistent, right? That's really what they bring to the table. And with that team, Dave, I think the way that they support each other to make sure everybody's right where they need to be to get as many points as they can, and they don't overextend each other too much. Now, the only thing I would say about that is that amongst a team like this, they just get the work done that needs to get done to win.
They
It's
do.
all about winning at the end of the day. You might not always see, though, the moves off the front, because
No,
they don't have to.
No, exactly, because they're so patient and calculating, and they wait until they make the kill and they execute. And I would say, Asa Fast Berglund, Nathan, she comes in as one of, I would say, the Hall of Fame Zwifters in esports that we've got. And she's a leader on a team that has thrown ego out the door. They race, as you were just saying, I'll just double down on that. This team races with their head. They don't, they have a lot of pride in team, is a good way to put it. And they've got every rider on the squad is in this group. So they've all made the selection up here. So that being said, who's going to upset the apple cart? Obviously, Gabriella Schumann is rocking and rolling out here for beast mode. She's got Maria Marb on her team. Maria, big talent as well. So Rose beast mode, Nathan, they've got something to work with here.
Yeah, and looking at Aeonian, though, with the lineup as well, it'll be interesting to see what they're able to pull off. It was a little bit interesting. In the Grand Prix last week, I felt like Luis didn't perform to the level that the expectation that we had, and so I'm wondering if she's. But now we're seeing the usual Adagase that
There
we
she
would
is.
see, and so we saw her come over the top of the
right
climb.
there.
She's been pretty consistent today, so we'll see how this plays out.
She's right with her Romanian teammate, Daniela Estrate. That's Los Adagis, the world champion, popping up perfectly there. Aeonian, another legacy squad here. That's just amazing, the job they've done of being inclusive and being able to have riders at all different levels of the pyramid and have fun doing it, too. It's a super, super cool team. Now, I have a feeling, Nathan, that what you're seeing is, we were talking about race tactics earlier and maturing and understanding how the process works, and your most likely way to win is not using energy too much too early and having something for the end. Well, I have a feeling that Los is building up for a world championship defense. That's going to be in March of this year that the UCI Worlds will be held on Zwift, and she probably doesn't have peak form right now, to tell you the truth.
And
to be completely fair.
I mean, really, right now, what would it be needed for?
We're at the very beginning of a long season here.
100%, 100%. So no need to overextend at this point. Now, speaking of points, they're coming on through. This is the situation as it currently stands. Fastest first across line, 17 points so far for Daniela Estrate, but 25 for fastest through segment. Danelle there coming from Swedish Zwifters with 40 points total, with 15 for fastest across line, first across line, 25 for fastest through segment. So that means those two riders took the two fastest through segments. It goes to show how much those are actually worth. Now, Tennille Irish, though, Dave, she took, I believe, second for that fastest through segment and first across line for that 14. Total, it's actually, I think, a 10 and something else that came through there. Hayes there, coming through for fourth. Van der Plas there for fifth. Schumann grabbing the 10 and the 7 there. It goes, though, to show Schumann may have been first across the line, But look at the difference because of the fastest through segment, because the pack came rolling through so incredibly
Right.
fast over the top of that aqueduct.
Yeah, so right, really quickly, Nathan, for anybody who's new joining us here, FAL is first across the line. FTS is fastest through segment. They're scored differently. Once you pick up your FAL points, they're in the bank and they're untouchable. So Gabby picks up 10 there, as did Micah van der Plas. She also picked up 10 points. Those were for winning the two different sprint opportunities or first across line. Now, fastest through segment, if we're doing laps on a course, that will even update today here in France. We're not doing actual laps around here. We're doing one big tour of France, but those points are different in the way that they're scored, and they're not quite as linear, Nathan, are they? Instead of 10 down to 1, descending order 1 point at a time, it stacks up differently, 20 down to 1, but it's weighted a little better for the top 3.
Yeah, and I think
That
it'll be
makes sense.
interesting. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. And yes, you're correct though there, Dave, that it's a one go this time. You got one chance through each one of these. If it is laps, which is it does get interesting, you do have a little
That
bit more.
happens. I mean, yeah, half of the time that we race, it seems like it's laps, right? I mean, so
Yeah,
kind of a
and
50-50 proposition.
speaking of the Marina Sprint coming up here in just a moment, and a lot of points on the line. The interesting thing is, Dave, immediately following this sprint, bam, immediately right into the Petite KOM reverse. It is going to be for the big points at the finish of this race. So I have a feeling you may see some counterattacks coming through here. So grab as many points as you possibly can through here, recover really quickly, and then you may have a gap to work with through this Marina Sprint.
So this would be if you were going to do a bike racing or esport 101 class. This is your absolute. I mean, it's almost like the counterattack is a given at this point. The riders who are going to be contesting this sprint, those that can make over 10 watts per kilo out here for 15 seconds. I mean, this is your moment here to go get those points, especially knowing that you're going to have a really tough time getting up there in the meaty points at the final of this race on top of Petite KOM. So this is your opportunity to go get some points for your team. And I mean, that's going to call all the heavy hitters, the big sprinters to the front right now. And then we should see a flipping of the script and the riders who can make the watts per kilo on that climb, getting up there and doing their thing. There's a rare rider that can do both, but that woman does exist.
Real quickly, before we head into the Merino Sprint, those that may not know the course, we'll take a quick look at it here real quickly. As the ladies have already taken on that first initial punch of a climb on over the top of the Petite KOM. Then it was the downhill, a little bit of back and forth switchbacks. And then through the Aqueduct Sprint, that was the KOM Sprint that we saw there that just popped up. And then it is the sprint through the Pave. They're out on this long, steady, flat grind on over toward the Marina sprint that is over by the start section. And then they will be climbing toward the finish for the final points. It is 27.2 kilometers.
Such an interesting route when you look at it. The way that you made the point at the beginning of the broadcast that it's really hard at the start, it's really hard at the finish, with some pretty rugged sprints along the way as we're making our way down to the final 6K of racing. These are the women that have survived up to this point in this beautiful France world that we're on, as we're in with Towle now, the ESRT rider. Got to feel pretty good about where you're at with your fitness, Nathan, if you're even in this group right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's a chase group 40 seconds back. Now, they're only thinking about, well, there's actually a solo rider here, Ayala from Revo, coming out of the US of A, being chased down by the Beast Mode Courage rider that's taking poles in this group of 5 behind. But that's the current situation for any kind of chase. If you have made this front group of about 38, you're amongst the fastest women in the world out on Zwift. You know, Dave, this EMEA European, I mean, it's tough. You've got the EMEA East, you've got the West, and then you've got America's East as far as the top talents that I feel that are the kind of place where all of the top talents find each other and really sharpen their esports talents amongst the Zwift Racing League. We're about to head in. We're about, I think, a K&a-half at this point, Dave. It's coming right down to this final sprint.
I would agree, though, all those that the regions that you mentioned are all very comparable. Nathan, one isn't exceptionally more talented than the other. You're going to find great racing and that's one of the cool things about esports here on Zwift too, is that it's not just the A's, the B's, the C's, the D's. Some of the most spirited racing happens in all of these different categories. So, yeah, I know folks will watch the broadcast. I wish that we could sometimes, cover a full season for a D team. Maybe that'll happen in the future at some point. Make a documentary about that. But you're right, Nathan. The fireworks are about to go. Right now, you feel the calm before the storm. It's like a ticking time bomb right now. There's going to be an explosion out of this group. So get ready. That Marina sprint, that clocks in at 22.2 km. So I'm going to say that we're less than 1K from that. And then it's going to be a double dip of racing excitement here. So they're going to go right into the petite KOM. So it is on now here. And season one, really, Nathan, begins right here, right now.
Ellie Cameron continued to make her way to the front here. I think she's just looking to respond to anything that does make the move. They're leaving a little bit late here. No serious lead out just yet. It's going to be the first one to kick that may get a little bit of a jump on everybody else. Any moment now, you're going to start seeing those orange numbers on the right-hand side. There it goes now, the invisibility power up. Here comes Rose Beast mode here. The German rider, it is going to be Ify now making the first move, and it's an invisibility power up. So she's not actually seen by anybody now at this point. She's got the jump on them, and I don't think she did that perfectly, Dave. A lot of times that does not work because it goes from back to front, but this time she was at the front and snuck away 52 kilometers per hour, Dave. Is she going to make it happen? Vanderplas trying to come on through, but it's going to be right to the corner. I think she's going to get caught. It's just right at the line here. Team NL over the top, but is it going to hold? And it is, Dave, right to the line. Team NL make it happen.
Vanderplas has been phenomenal out here today. I believe, count it, 2 sprint wins for her today. She gets the job done. That's got to feel exceptionally good. And now get ready for what's going to be old school fury here as we're into the final 3.5 kilometers of racing. There's a tremendous number of points waiting at the top of the climb. We've got a summit finish here on Zwift. These are always something that people really look forward to, as there just aren't enough of these, Nathan, and it is on like Donkey Kong here for 22-23 season 2.
Look at this. Rachel Elliott did not get involved in that sprint because of that. She actually used, it looked like an aero power up just a moment ago. We do see someone using the steamroller because this pave we're going over right now is the only section that really does anything. Ghost being used as well. Everyone's just blowing power ups left and right. Now it all comes back together, Dave. I thought for sure we'd see some counterattacks, but I think everybody getting their heart rates under control and getting their legs underneath them again before we hit this couple of minute climb to the top for the final points on the day.
Yeah, and that shows you how unpredictable the racing is out here as well, because I would think, Nate, that if we were doing this course with these riders last year, we would have seen a group of 2 or 3 attacking, but riders now being a little more conservative, aware of how tough this finale is going to be, and just keeping their powder dry. Again, it's just getting a little more sophisticated week after week out here.
Yeah, I believe the talent level as well, right, Dave? When the talent level goes up, making
exactly,
moves
the risk
on other
reward
riders.
ratio. Yeah, and so the amount you have to risk to get any kind of reward is no longer worth it.
100%. And I think a lot of, except for Rachel Elliott, she's never scared to do anything. And she's like, forget it. I've got this invisibility power up. I think this is the moment she's been waiting for. We saw her get pretty quiet after that initial attack over the top here. A bottom to top attack from Rachel Elliott like this can work, especially with Lou Bates in there. So if somebody goes across, they get 3 or 4 here, Dave, this will stick.
You want to talk about someone, Rachel just planted her flag at the front of the bike race and said, look, come with me. I have to think that she's looking for exactly what you said, Nathan, 2 or 3 riders that want to set a tempo. Is it the race-winning move? I wouldn't bet against it, to tell you the truth. When you look at the quality now, because Lou Bates is back, I was mentioning how I think that people were sleeping on well. I'll be honest, I felt like we didn't give Lou Bates enough credit for the incredible ride that she had a couple of weeks ago. And she's clearly at a very high level right now. As a matter of fact, Rachel Elliott couldn't ask for a better partner here in crime than Lou Bates. So these two, maybe it's just going to be them, Nathan. I wouldn't bet against these 2 women.
No, I wouldn't. If they let them, look at this. Everyone's just watching at this point. And to trust these 2 to go off the front, Rachel Elliott can hold 5 to 6 watts per kilogram the entire way through.
And these are two women that have such a history of courage. Clear eyes and full heart. They've both got it. And everybody back in that peloton, I would think, unless they're really haven't been paying attention, are going to be aware that these are two huge engines and with a proven quality racers. So I don't think that they're just letting them go saying, oh, we'll get them later. I think that there's maybe not much they can do.
Perhaps you're right there, Dave. I mean, the reality is Van Eyck, though, here now kicks at 6 watts, or we saw a
And
quick
what
little
about the
orange
Swedes,
numbers.
right? I mean,
Yeah, they
you're
need
going to
to
see
respond to
Norden
this.
and
But here's
Berglund,
the
right?
thing. Over the top, the risk again, though, Dave, is it because they're like, look, we'll give those 2 spots away. It's not really the points that we necessarily need. We just need to make sure we get as many as we can across line at the top spots we possibly can.
Can I have to be honest, Nathan? That circles back to how are the rules playing out here? Well, you win this race with team points, and you do it not only at the finish line, but you've done it at multiple intermediate KO or QOMs and sprints. So probably 2/3, maybe more than even 2/3 of the points have already been distributed. So you're absolutely right. If these two teams, Sox for Watts and R3R for Lou Bates, if they're not even sitting there in contention, the Swedes don't need to take the bait. They really don't. Now, typically, we see that in bike racing, racers want to race, and they still, even if you don't have to win the race outright to win for your team, riders typically, Nathan, still like to win the race outright. It's just part of, inherently in our DNA as competitors out here, but they don't need to win this race to win today. Great point.
No, they don't. But here's the thing, Dave. These 2 are gone. I mean, that's not even a question any longer, right? I mean, this is said and done.
Are you
Left-hand turn in just a
surprised?
moment. No, I'm not actually. I mean, I was surprised nobody responded to it.
Yeah,
Actually,
me too.
I was a little
But I
surprised
think
that
that
we
you
didn't see
read
anybody
it
go. But
perfectly.
Lou Bates and now Lou Bates, though, sitting on with this, is in her perfect situation. She's seen the situation time and time again with this exact athlete, most likely, where she's like, I know Rachel will do the work, and I'm going to kick at the end, and I'm going to take this win.
If you're Aeonian or if you're Swedish Swifters, Nathan, you can honestly use that Star Wars line with Obi-Wan Kenobi. These are not the droids that you're looking for, right? They don't have to worry about these two. So I'm assuming that, to tell you the truth, I don't know exactly where the points stand as far as teams go, and that's part of the anticipation and excitement. You can see the peloton now as they are lurking at about, let's call it, well, it looks like Neugen is the Dutch rider is sitting at about 12 seconds back. Peloton, let's call it 17 back, as Van Aert is attacked out of that group. The Aeonian rider, Swedish Swifters look like they're going to try to cover. So this is a lot going on behind our two
I might have
leaders,
been wrong,
Rachel
Dave.
Elliott and Lou Bates.
I might have been wrong. Nugent just kicking to 8 watts per kilogram from the group. Full gas here. The pack is coming
5
on
seconds.
like maniacs, Dave. She's closing this down. She's got so much power. Lou Bates still waits, and this is it. She waited and waited. She's got an arrow power up, and Lou Bates kicks over the top. 10 watts per kilogram. What a savvy rider.
Yeah, there you go. Backing up everything we said about Lou out here today. Just tremendous talent. Used her brain. Went with Elliott. Played her cards perfectly. Lou Bates, you are my hero. You really are. So R3R is going to take the outright win on the day. However, I should say with Lou Bates winning the scratch race event, but we've got our team competition to look at here. But congratulations to Lou. Well
Lou
done
taking
there.
that
Done
down. See if we can get back to Nugent over the top of Elliott. It looks like here she'll take second. Rachel Elliott for third. It looks like Daniela Strate on the attack. Gabriella Schumann, I believe, for fourth, with Hayes from Stelvio and Van Eyck and a few others there across the line next. Now they're all going to cool down on the downhill. We'll get results in just a moment. But Bates, Dave, don't ever count her out on a climb like that, right? I mean, that the reality is she's done this many times before, and we know she's got a good kick to the line as well as a climb. It's that in between with her. I'm not sure that she's an outright all and out climber necessarily if you were just going to put her on a mountain, but you put her on a punchy climb like this with a sprint at the end, I would almost never bet against her.
Yeah, like a classic style esports racer. I mean, I'm going to say at this point, it's Lou Bates' world. We're just living in it, to tell you the truth. She's so strong. Let's see what kind of a season she has. I mean, this could be a world championship run that we get from Lou Bates out here this year.
That's not a bad call, Dave. Actually, that's not because of the way that these world championships are going to go, she
Suits a
could
rider
perform.
like
Yeah,
you, doesn't it?
suits her
Yeah.
very, very well. Very punchy, little climbs, little sections, and then going over and over again with these kinds of efforts. So I wouldn't put it past her one bit. And
She's in my top 3 right now, for sure. Absolutely. And she's been racing really well in the Zwift Grand Prix too, which will
yeah,
kick back up here in another couple weeks. And that's
speak
exactly
to
the
that.
format.
The why racers would race this Zwift Racing League, besides the fun, the exercise of it, but at this top level, this really is the sharpening iron right here. This really is, you're going into the cage match, your preliminary.
Mhm.
Where do I stand amongst the top racers? And Lou Bates probably just gained a ton of confidence for how this might play out going into continental qualifiers if she is racing those and looking forward to world championships. I think everyone in this top 10 to 20 amongst these ladies has that in the back of their mind because Conti qualifiers are this weekend.
100%, Nathan. And you see with the Zwift Grand Prix now that the rhythm is different, the racing is different. And if you haven't been in the octagon and seeing what it's like when you get these kicks and punches thrown at you, you're not ready for it. So the athletes that have been racing in Zwift Grand Prix are going to have a tremendous advantage come March and the UCI World Championships. The Conti qualifiers coming up are going to be really exciting. And we're really just about a week away from that. And that's really where our independent racers, and Nathan, I have to say that racers that are near and dear to our hearts, because a lot of them are racers that we've seen racing with us for years and who maybe aren't hooked up with their federation or don't have a federation that's active in esports. I'm thinking, riders like Philippe Nystrom or, underrepresented countries or riders who are coming out of the woodwork as well. It's an incredibly cool opportunity for them to get to race at the very highest level for the UCI Zwift World Championships.
We're going to take a quick break, everybody. We'll be jumping right back in with the men's racing in just a moment. Quick little break and back with the men's racing. Don't go anywhere. They're about to kick off in about 3 minutes. Well, we're back here after a quick little break. Zwift Racing League 2022-23. It's race number 1. We're out on Roule-Mapoule in France, and this is going to be the men's EMEA W East Open Division 1, 27K. The men have kicked out on the course so far, and the first rider that popped into my feed of interest was Jaden Yager riding for Restart. Dave, this is a rider that you've seen many a times in real life, I believe, on break after break. And I think him and as far as the talents go, him and Rachel Elliott may have something in common as far as what they might try and pull off out here today.
Big hearts, that's for sure. Yeah, I'll never forget, Nathan. For the 2022 season, there was a race in the Gateway Cup, which is a really popular 4 days of racing in St. Louis every fall over Labor Day weekend here in the States. And the most impressive ride the entire year I saw was from Jaden Yeager, a solo breakaway. He put almost a minute into a really strong group. And for me, it was really encouraging because it backed up what we've seen him doing in esports. He did it in real life, and it was awe-inspiring. Really cool guy. Great attitude as well.
I want a similar story to America's Dairyland 2021 last year. I jumped in with those boys, and Jaden was racing for a local team here. And like 3 times a race, the guy would be off the front, and the speed would go to 30 to 35 miles per hour to bring him back. Because it was like nobody wanted to let him go. Yeah, nobody would want to let him go because of exactly what you just said. They knew if they allowed him to do so, the game may be over before it even started. Well, the game has started here. Holt and Jamrosic. We've got Jammers here today, Dave.
Oh, nice.
Jammers
oh boy.
and Yager, both on the same team. I think we're going to see some 1-2 action here, but Abus Nicole might have something to say about it.
That's like hearing Godzilla and Mothra have teamed up. Right. So Daniel Jamrosic has got the best Instagram. I'm sure you follow him, Nathan. What a fascinating person. And I'm a big fan of, he's got a great quality of character. So, boy, we got some interesting riders off the front, but Jammers, as they affectionately call him, is going to come back to the group as we're going to be resetting here. Well, not quite coming back to the group, but is he back in his old Restart kit?
Yeah, it looks like he's hanging out with Restart right now, but you can race for 2 teams. You can race for 2 teams in ZRL.
Yep,
so
no
perhaps
problem.
That's what's going on here.
We've just gotten used to him racing with another very popular team, but no problemo. I completely understand how that would work. This is going to be Joe Pirot coming up now as we take a look at some of the very strong riders, Nathan. Let's talk quickly about the course. Some of the folks would have been watching the women. Very exciting race won by Lou Bates just a little bit earlier. Roule-Mapoule. Let's roll, as it's basically loosely translates from French. The Petite KOM finishes at 3.1K, so about 500 meters until we get up there. That's where the first power-up is picked up. But, Nathan, no points to go with it.
No points, but I think what's happening right now is just the pain being put into the legs is what's trying to be done by Restart and maybe some of the others. See if they can make some breaks perhaps happen. DZR. Yeah, we already have a few off the back here at this point. So it's whittled things down.
Good Baker's dozen.
You know, and if you've got some big sprinters, I mean, like real serious, all they do is sprint for your team. It's not the worst tactic if you can burn those matches intelligently to really stoke your fire.
You know, it'd be like sacrificing a knight for a bishop or something, in chess, right? It could make sense depending on how your team is set up. This is Gus that we're looking at now, Zed's son. Good to see this familiar kit back on the front of a bike race out here as we take a look at the chase being organized now. It's only let's call it a second, but and no points there. More just a statement, Nathan.
Yeah, it's a good statement, too, as he comes up to the top 132 beats per minute. This guy's
statement is, I'm a badass, and everyone has to say, yeah, I guess you are.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving our way back to the pack, let's see what's happening and if anybody has gotten caught out at this point, because that's going to be the real question at this point in the race. A couple of orange numbers being popped
This
here.
is the name. You don't want to see your name on this list.
No, you don't, because this is extra work that did not. Look at Fozzie the Bear here off the back. Fozzie needs to make something happen now. Jump on Kermit's wheel. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Anthony here now. Also, 2 seconds back. D'Anthony has gone from Zed Scott. It's going to be Mutant here with Ron. 2 seconds, Dave. These boys really need to put it down. Velos here coming out of Switzerland. 9 watts per kilogram. You can see how quickly this pack will just roll away from you if you sleep at all. And it's going away again. 69 kilometers per hour, 76 from the main pack. That is a huge speed difference.
You can see he's super tucking. So you'd think, well, perfect. He'll scoot right in. Well, no, not when they race like this, Nathan. Not when they race like this. They just press on as these boys do not play. And we're taking a look now at, so what did they reduce out of that group, Nathan? Did 15 riders get their ticket punched?
Something like that. And I feel bad for Pickles here. Pickles from Velos.
Velos and Pickles and what a nightmare. Fozzie. Yeah.
I can't even handle it, Dave. Oh my god.
Right?
Pickles, Fozzie, it's all over. Diego Velos, who knows what's even happening. I feel bad for Pickles because Pickles, what happened was he had a dropout, and at that moment, Fozzie the Bear came flying by, it looks like, for ART. So this is quite the broadcast, Dave. You know, if you just took the audio from this and you just left it alone as
you'd wonder what
exactly is being talked about here.
What are they playing again? Would be the so all right, we're back in though. So we can have a chuckle, Nathan, but I tell you what, this is, well, most of my racing career was spent back here, to tell you the truth, chasing back into groups after climbs. And it's tough. It really is. And there's no rest for the weary either, because the racing continues at the front. They really don't back off much. Sure, it can get tactical, but a day like today, it really won't. So it's not like in contemporary road racing back in the day. You could always count on at some point the peloton will sit up and you should have a shot at getting back into the mix, but not out here today. Although, you know what? I've been proven wrong. We have seen riders fight back from 30, 40-second gaps to rejoin. So it can happen. And certainly the spirit of the bike racer is to never give up.
And that's what we did see is Diego went backwards, it looked like, to work with his teammate, Pickles. And it looks like they brought it back to a couple of seconds. They have a group of 4 now at this point. So I'm not sure. Perhaps they both got dropped, and it's like, look, let's work together here at this point. It does not look like they're really pressing on too much up front. 20 seconds is a huge gap, though, to bring back before the aqueduct. There's not a lot of distance before the speed picks up again.
It sounds like a Canadian kids Saturday morning show. Diego and Pickles working together to overcome all odds.
They just need to find the map. Oh my gosh, Dave!
They need to find the magic ring.
Yeah, I have so many memories of. Yeah, we're gonna leave the map alone, but that's hilarious. All right, moving forward though,
we're into it. Yeah, so Nathan, let's talk about what we got coming. Aqueduct. Don't sleep on aqueducts. We watched Gabby Schumann make an impressive statement on the women's race during that sector. And 9.1K, there's a fastest through segment. There's first across the line points. It's not the world's toughest climb, but it's enough that you can do damage. I think that's a fair way to put it.
Yeah, and in the men's race, the speeds will be just a little bit higher over the top, the roll through on the opposite side of the aqueduct, maybe a little bit more troublemaking, especially where things are at with this pack, how things have already blown up so much effort put down just to come over the top of that petite KOM. We do see a power-up being used there. That's the Steamroller. The Steamroller, the Ghost, as well as the Arrow power-up are on for grabs today. I think Arrow power-up, no matter what, is going to be the favorite to try and hold on for as many points as you possibly can. The question is, Dave, when do you use it? Do you hold on for that final sprint over the top? Do you risk it a little bit and grab the aqueduct and just think, look, roll the dice every time and grab as many points as you can?
No, I don't. I go with the former rather than the latter if I'm directing here, Nathan. I say, look, the odds of coming up with a bummer power-up, a steamroller isn't going to make the difference for you. Keep that power-up. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think if
I'd rather have one decent arrow in my quiver than hope that I get a better one later.
Pickles is mad. Pickles is saying pull. Uh-oh. He's back here yelling.
He's screaming. virtually. Yeah.
Let's go. Take a poll here. Zed's son, Mutant, he's not happy with their contributions here at this point, but I think Velo's here having
Everything
two.
is
They
not
want to work together.
copacetic in the chase. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, 20 seconds. So I think these two that are with them are saying, look, not sure this is going to happen. We're back in 59th place. We're in here for the workout at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to help you out, man, but you know, doing all I can here.
Duncan just came through with some of the best chat I've
But I
ever
love the
seen in one of
dynamics of a
our
chasing group, Nathan. You know what I mean? Everybody trying to get other people to do more work, right?
100%. Duncan McRae Spencer, better Saturday morning TV cartoon version is Nathan and Dave solving mysteries using Zwift power-ups and Swedish snacks. I 100% agree with that. You just
Me
got to send
too.
us some pickles
Let's
now
do that.
too. Diego and Pickles will be definitely involved in this at this point, as I think they're going to have a little bit of time to invest off the back here. They've actually brought it back to 15. I spoke maybe a little
Well,
bit too early here, Dave,
the
but this
story
is kicking
arc for
off. It's
Diego and
kicking off.
Pickles, it's not all blue skies. They have to go through some trauma as well, you know. So obviously they had a little argument, but they worked through it. So good job back there to our. So 20 seconds, Nathan, you said? If they can get back in, they have to get some kind of a award here today on Zwift. They've certainly. Oh boy, look at this. I'm going to turn my attention to this brutal sprint as Whitlock, Villiers, Young. These monsters have hit out. So fastest through segment, first across the line.
Young from Mutant comes right at the finish there. And Dave,
wow.
they did
What
the
TNT
usual.
yeah, Mutant. Woo, Nathan.
I really want to take a look at the replay on that when we get a moment, because I
That
want
was
to show how these teams play this to get the first across the line as well as fastest through segment. It was very well played out actually there, coming from that Mutant
and
team.
look what's happening now. They're continuing on. It's gone nearly single file, long, thin line of pain. So that Mutant team is on fire right now. Boy, did they time that well, Nathan. I'm going to imagine that you're looking to replay that. That was interesting. You can see a lot of restart jerseys here, just in the slipstream. So that's where you need to be right now. Here comes Van Get of Avis Lecole, the Belgian rider here. This group will be reduced after that Aqueduct sprint as we make our way by the lavender fields here.
Yeah, and you can't really sleep at this point. Look at this rider, Marino, trying to get back on terms, 181 beats per minute, and is just outside of the draft just a little bit, not getting any of that free speed. Here comes Carla, the Dutch rider.
Yeah, Carla can bring him up. Karlik would like him to do the work. This is a classic standoff now, but neither rider wants to close down that gap. They're going to get some help, though, Nathan. That's why racing is not only in front of you, but sometimes behind you that you have to see. Had you burnt that match, Nathan, to close that gap down, you would have wasted it because you could have got some help from riders who are coming through with momentum behind you.
At 54 kilometers per hour, Perot sees that there's a group coming on through, and he doesn't want to wait for it. He uses invisibility power up here now, and the rest of the riders here just sleep on it. He does get a gap. Now here comes an aero power up, though, from the pack. Not sure he's going to be able to hang on to this at 11 watts per kilogram. Does he have a steamroller is going to be the question. Now 9 watts per kilogram. Karluk here, he went from back to front, but I don't think he's going to hold on to it. It's going to be Holt, perhaps no Mutant now to the front. Perot's fading, Avis Lecole, but no, it's restart to the line. It's going, oh my goodness, who's it going to be? Dave, I think it was Team Dutch Racers with Evans taking second across the line. Tigelaar.
Yeah,
the Dutch rider.
Yeah, Jamrosic was up there, but I think you got that right, Nathan. We'll have a chance to, in a moment here, as the points will be updating. There's so much going on here. First across the line, fastest through segments, and at this point now we've scored at Aqueduct and Pave. So looking forward to Marina Sprint coming up. That's for the wattage cottages to have their go at it. This is going to be now a little bit of general regrouping. I'm anticipating, Nathan. You can see there's quite a few well, I wouldn't maybe go as far as to say quite a few as we go by the sunflowers here, but there are a few riders that are really hoping to catch a break and have it back off right now a little bit and rejoin the group, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see any attacks coming through here. I do see. Oh, I thought perhaps the Danish rider that was rolling through with that arrow power, but I think he was just trying to get back on terms. The pace has been so insane. Now, if you did have a rider who was thinking this is the moment, it really is.
Yeah.
A breakaway rider, this is the moment. Aqueduct, sit in, Jam Rosick. Jammers is off the front. I mean, this is the rider that I would be
Classic
thinking
on
of.
cue.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you nailed it, Nathan. Exactly what Jammers is all about here. He's going to make things rough now, and if he gets caught, I'd expect the counterattack from his teammate. So they're doing what they do. Restart, just starting to pepper this field right now here. Is this the
Woody from
appetizer or the
Innovation.
main course?
What is he? Okay, Woody from Innovation has an 11-meter gap here at this point, so nobody actually is on his wheel. So he'll come across. Now, if
This is a bridge,
Innovation,
not a chase. Exactly.
exactly,
This is
yep.
bridging up. Yep.
So I think these two on the front, they could make something happen. And just think about, for the viewers at home, Aqueduct, right? So the Petit KOM, then Chill Out. That's a match, right? Then it was Aqueduct followed by immediately into the Pave
Pave.
sprint. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
those two back to back, a little bit more than a match. You kind of threw a few coals out the window, really, is what ended up happening there. And
For
then you
sure.
have this long, steady flat. Now you can sit in and just watch, or if you have a belief in yourself at this point, everybody's tired. Go ahead, make some moves and see what happens. Holt now going across, Burns going across as well. Orange numbers getting popped. Goose is saying, okay, I'm gonna get involved. And again, these are bridges. They are not pulling the pack up with them. Nobody is sitting on these wheels at this point.
Can you imagine now, Nathan, if this group in this small break that's forming have a chance to sprint for those points? I wouldn't expect that they would be able to carry on past that point with so much talent back here. But this is very, very compelling racing going on right now. I mean, is it a call for the sprinters to come forward here?
The thing here, Dave, my question is, does this pack, the main pack at this point, has Zwift Racing gotten to the point where they look at this and go, look, we've got enough up front. We don't want to chase, and teammates stop chasing each other, right? We've had a long go for a while of maybe not quite as organized, and I'm just going to go and I want to be involved, and, you know, racing more for self rather than team. I think we've gotten to this point now where this is organized enough that this break may just stick from the tactical side of things. They still have a 3-second gap.
100%. Well, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to stick, though, because we're still at 22K, 22.2K is where that Marina sprint happens on the odometer. We've got 8 kilometers to get there. And I feel like the gravity of the peloton right now just isn't going to play around, and the fitness level's so high back in that group. This is touch and go out here. This is exactly why I'm so happy to see the racing has gotten to this perfect level. Absolutely thrilling to witness here as we're out here on Roule Mapoule on the France World. And this course now, obviously they hit hard early, and they've got a climb to look forward to, a summit finish out here today. This is the men that we're with. We've got races around the globe racing today on WTRL Zwift Racing League. This is our EMEA. That's Europe, Middle East, and Africa East Open Division 2. And boy, look how dynamic it is right now.
Look at how Restart is going to the front and shutting this down over and over again.
With the rider in the break, with the rider that started the break.
Yeah, I love it. And now this is going to have the accelerations enough, it looks like, that the pack, eventually you get enough people accelerating at the front of the pack that it does roll through, and brings this back. So now the pack has shut this down, but will we see a counterattack? There's so much flat to work with here that I'm not sure that they're all going to be patient enough with the kind of talent that we see here. And there it is. Visibility power up going off the front, Dave.
Well, and I was expecting it to be, Restart attacking the team in light green, and it Jaden Yeager on cue, baby.
You called it. The moment Jammers went, you said it, didn't you, Dave? You said, this is what we were expecting from these two, and it was Yager that was sitting in waiting for this moment. He goes at 7 watts per kilogram.
The field, right? And that's exactly what Jammers was setting up his teammate Yeager, and Yeager now is going to put a nail in the coffin. Is it his own coffin or your coffin? Guess what? We don't know. We're going to find out. Jaden Yeager is ready to go to battle right now as this gladiator of Zwift and that's going to get a response. It's going to be Uys coming now, the Zed Sun rider. It looks like the Belgian Pirot is responding. Haldana, Nilsson, Morris, all coming to the front. Now they realize you cannot play around with Jaden Yeager. This man is a machine.
Look at the peloton, though, Dave.
Not really, right? I mean, I agree,
Nathan. Across the road.
They're going to give him a little of the extended lead, it looks like.
They gave Jaden Yeager almost 10 seconds at this point, Dave. I mean, that quickly, too. These two are off the front,
Did
and
they
I
give it to him
think
or did he take it? Yeah,
good.
well, you're
That's a
right.
good
They
question
gave
because I do think there's a couple of riders that could chase at this point in this group, but the speeds were so high over and over again. The kicks over and over and over again. You just couldn't even get across, Dave. 6
mm-mm.
watts per kilogram. Jagger is completely committed.
I wouldn't have let him go. Remembering again, Nathan, your point in the women's race was just right on cue, and the timing is perfect. Of it's a team points competition. So remembering that for restart, this is obviously how they love to race. It's in their DNA. The other teams now, Nathan, as we're in the first race of a fresh season here, they might not take the bait as you said with Lou Bates, right? If you're a team necessarily to do all of the work to chase it back and then get killed by the other teams, that's not the right play here. So sometimes you just have to devil you know, devil you don't kind of scenario.
I want to speak to what a monster this guy is. 500 watts right now. 450,
Is that good?
175 beats per minute. I mean, he's cruising at 50 kilometers per hour on the flats. That's what my team time trial team does.
You know, it's great
on the flats.
when
all
I'm
of
on
us
Zwift,
working together, and this guy's just holding it.
I can make this power for about 5 to 7 seconds.
17 seconds, Dave. I mean, I'm not even sure the sprint's going to bring this guy back.
And I have a feeling, Nathan, that what I was just saying, they just said, look, he's one guy. He's going to take a lot of points, but he's not an entire team. So do we
True.
sacrifice everything here to bring him back, or do we just say, well, there you go, Jaeger doing what Jaeger does? This is truly, truly an awesome, awesome ride.
Now, the
But
reality
who's
is they got
surprised?
Dean Cunningham. They've got Jammers still in here. They've got a few riders that we've seen pretty big moves from so far within this restart team. They still have a lot of talent for the sprints to come up at this point. I would
See
not.
Alex saying it's bait. Are there in the
uh,
comments that I completely disagree? Or maybe it's bait, but I don't know if you're going to catch it.
100%. And it looks to me like this has been done. Jem Rosick now just gets to sit in. Cunningham gets to sit in. Everybody just gets to sit and watch the points go up the road at this point. I mean, will 30
So the
seconds
next
be
thing that
taken out?
happens
Will
here,
30 seconds get taken out on that climb is the question. Because we
10
also
seconds.
have 10 seconds being brought back on the sprint as well, probably.
That's what I was going to say. The fastest across, excuse me. So we've got a fastest through segment and a first across the line coming up at Marina Sprint. That's 22.2 kn. In my mind, Jaeger gets the points for first across the line without a doubt. Fastest through segment is going to be a problem for him. He won't be, I wouldn't think, in the top 10 because the peloton will activate, Nathan, and that probably brings back 5 to 10 seconds. What do you think? On my math
I think we're looking at maybe even 10 to 15 seconds on that. Then after that, he has to hold on to the 15 to 20 seconds. This may go out to 40 seconds though, Dave. He gets 40 seconds. I'm not sure they're bringing that back, but the reality is though, they're going to climb at 6 to 7 watts per kilogram at some sections. He's got to have a really good climb on him here too.
He'll
this isn't
stay,
done.
He'll
This isn't
stay
over.
at 5.5. Yeah, no, and he won't completely collapse is the thing. He's got the depth. So he'll be able to sustain a rhythm on that climb that'll be at 5.5, 5.7 watts per kilo, right? So they'll be making a lot more than that, but not enough that I think I'm starting to think he might stay away the entire distance, which just call it 26 kilometers of racing. But very astutely, the petite KOM reverse is that will be the crux. No question, he's going to pick up the 10 points that are waiting for the first across the line at the marina.
Yeah, definitely going to pick those up.
That
I'd
ship
be
sailed.
really surprised if
Yeah.
anything happened there. Now, we do see a little bit of work being done at the front now. Innovation stepping up, 6 watts per kilogram here. Goose is there as well from Zedson, and they know they have to do this if they're going to shut anything down ahead. Now, the question is, does it even matter anymore? Right? Like, okay, we do this work, and what for? What is the point? He's gone. Do we really need the win that badly? As we said earlier, Team Swedish Swifters, you said that earlier as well. And that Van Geit says, okay, enough is enough. Ava Sokola says, we're going to the front. We're going to start shutting this down. This is not what Jaden wants to see at this point. But will it cause some
It was
infighting?
inevitable. And also, right, I mean, right now, if you look at it for Jaden, if he was watching the broadcast, he'd be like, okay, good. As chaotic and disorganized as possible, plays it. So the high water mark for Jaden Yeager's break went to 34 from what I saw, Nathan. So you might have better data than I, but I think that was going to be the high water mark out there.
I think you're right. Yep, I think you're right there.
Coming down, this is expected. They're at 2.2K of this now, where they're going to start gearing up for a fastest through segment. And those points are heavily weighted. Fastest through segments are a part of being successful in WTRL ZRL.
Good question
Those
just
points
came on
are critical.
through on how long the route is. Here you go. Rule pool. It's going to be a 27K total. They've already done the Aqueduct climb, the Pave sprint, as well as the Marina sprint coming up in just a moment here. Then they'll be hitting up the final climb at that 23-kilometer marker. So at 21 and 28 seconds and a solid climb ahead of him, Dave. And we're looking at 27.2 total. He's got 6K to go here, Dave. 6K to go with 28 seconds in the bank.
It's interesting, would you bet on him or against him right now? But I tend to, I wouldn't in any way say that an underdog here is not the situation. Jaden Yeager is far from an underdog, but it's an underdog situation, might be a better way to put it, right? Solo rider trying to hold off this much talent out here. Jaden Yeager's up to the task. I'm with them.
I think it's going to come
We're
right
voting.
down to it. I think it's come right down to it, like we saw with Rachel
Oh,
Elliott off the front.
if he wins, it'll be by a second or
Yep.
less, right? But I mean, today is a voting day in the United States, and I'm voting for Yeager.
Voting for Yeager. Voting for Yeager. Yep. Restart. We'll see what happens. Bet against me, Yeager
Less
says.
controversial.
I love it. He said it in the game. He just said, bet against me.
That's exactly what he wants.
Yeah, 5.8 watts per kilogram. Here we go. Villurano. Now it's chilled out again here, Dave. Powerball's 2 billion. I gotta go get a ticket now. Here we go.
It's my 401k plan there in that Powerball. So all right, Nathan, they're playing around with it now. I have a feeling everyone's setting themselves up back here for the finale. I think we might have read the cards right, the tea leaves right, is that Jaden Yeager's only one man. He's not an entire team. It's not ideal if you're not restart, but it could be worse.
Now, they're really waiting on this one, too. This is not a ramp up here, Dave.
Watch the gap. What is the gap at now from Jaden back to
30-ish, 32, I want to say.
Holding
Carluck
at
now
30.
Going. Here we go.
Right,
This is
so
the kick. Voulier now restart as well. And Velos now off the front, 13 watts per kilogram. He's got an arrow power up to go with it. Looks like he's probably going to hold on to this one at 11 watts per kilogram. Abus Lacole. No, Mutant maybe at the last second. Vidal. No, I think he did it.
Really, not quite,
maybe.
Yeah.
Did Vidal come through?
That'll go
I'm
to
not
the
sure.
back API.
Yeah, that's a tough one to call.
Yep.
Really tough one to call there because it was neck and neck right at the end there. Nice little kick. Now, I would go to the replays, but this has been so interesting. I've got a bunch of them sitting here from these men's
We don't have a chance when it's this so much action.
Tons of action, nonstop. Big thank you to the racers for making this race.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Now, the question is, how much time has been brought back so far here, Dave, from that little sprint? We said it'd be 10 seconds. That's about what it was.
19, right. Yeah. So the gap is 19 seconds. He's got 3K left. It's almost entirely, let's call it, once they hit the climb, Nathan, it's about an average of 3%.
Yeah, I'd say 3 to 3, but it does kick up pretty sharp at times. But yeah, average about 3% or so. Yager here now, 5.0 watts per kilogram with 18 seconds. If I had 18 seconds over a pack like this, and if he's got, I'm not sure what his max heart rate is though. Like, is he over threshold? Is going to be the other question at this point.
Can he spend the next 5 minutes at 5.5 average? Yes, he can.
Zedson organized, completely organized at the front. Goose. Verano is here as well. He's going to work with them. It looks like Pater's now going. They are not allowing this to just slip away this easily. They're ramping the speed before they even hit.
I've seen better organized chases, to tell you the truth.
True. This isn't, I'm not seeing full on BL13 moment just as of yet. But still, Dave, These two have lit the fuse, and I have a feeling the bomb is about to hit at the front here. I think this is going to explode completely here. They're not waiting.
I'm wondering if they're racing their own tactics right now rather than worrying about chasing back Jaden. It's at 14 seconds now. It's interesting. So we really have a fantastic situation. This is Zed Sunar. This is one of the world's powerhouse squads. That's going to be aliens coming through. Woody is the rider there. These guys are now
That was a
going to the
setup.
whip.
Vale just that was completely a setup. He just launched his team. That's the only reason why he did that. He went to the front, ramped it up into the bottom of the climb. Dave, talk about for real deal stage racing type tactics. I mean, that was like lead out into the climb. I love it.
Beautiful. We have really come a long way in esports racing in the last few years. As you would anticipate, the learning curve has been steep, but man, are these riders are like rolling supercomputers out here now. That was a beautiful tactic, and here we go. Jaeger holding at 15. He's still making the watts, though, as the grind is on. Nathan, we can watch that countdown as well. He's got about 1.7 Ks to go of this 3% average grade, but look at this. That's a beautiful sight. If you're Jaden Jaeger from that perspective, Nathan, it's clear sailing right now, as the gap is actually going up. So they're sitting up just a little bit in that group, and Jaden is continuing to put more coal on the fire. This guy is the Wisco Disco right now. Wisconsin power here, Nathan, as Jaden Jaeger is really, really going to, I have a feeling, put on a command performance today.
He might do this. They're sleeping on it a little bit. I thought that was going to continue on, but no, they all just started looking at each other. They were not going to continue on and risk their races here at this point, and they're not going to chase, it looks like. Now Jaeger, perfect timing, 1% gradient here. This is the place that he's going to get the most speed out of that aero power up. It goes out to 19 seconds, Dave. This may happen. Nielsen, 5.3. They're now starting to sense that this may be over for them. Now, we saw the attacks go from about a little bit further up from here, but they had, I think it was 10 seconds or so. It wasn't out to 21 seconds that they had on this pack. So can they close this down? They need to go now if this is happening. Otherwise, this is said and done at 22 seconds, and now he's starting to ramp it up, Dave. I think this is over.
They need to start now, and they need to have at least 5 different riders participating to make that catch. And I don't know that cooperation is going to exist. We're down to 1K to go, 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go, 1 to go. This is the so Lou Bates and Jaden Jaeger certainly setting the tone for our fresh season of ZRL with WTRL racing here, Nathan. But this one will be, I tell you what, this guy's a memory maker. Well, that's without a doubt. You watch Jaden Jaeger race, you're going to walk away saying, holy cow, that guy's a monster.
100%. Does it time and again, does it in real life. Now he's doing it. Now, it's rare that he gets these opportunities where there's a course that has those kind of punches, that kind of back-to-back, and then a long, steady grind, right? Back-to-back mash burning, long, steady grind into a field like that. And then even the team that set him up for that kind of attack was so perfect from restart.
Jam Rosick. Yeah,
Jammers
great
set
job,
him up
Daniel.
perfectly.
Yeah, that's great racing from Restart here. So on loan, I would say, back with Restart is Daniel Jamrosic. This is Jaden Jaeger at his finest right now. Nathan, the gap has gone back out to over 30 seconds. He's not even in the same postal code as the chase at this point. So that's a done deal. We can go back and look at all the points that are waiting back here now, because this is a big one here. It's first across the line. There is no fastest through segment, just the big finish points waiting now.
27 seconds up. Jaeger is going to take this. We'll follow along, just as a heads up for those watching the broadcast. We'll follow along until the left-hand turn. We'll say he got the W, as we do not want to lose the rest of the pack. The riders nearby list will change up on us, so we make sure that we can catch the field sprint as best as we possibly can. Nielsen does grab a 2-second gap over the top of the rest of the pack here. Jaeger still now has this 21-second lead and will be taking the win. There is Jaden, left-hand turn on over. Heading on, hopefully I can get Nielsen back. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, actually. As 4.3 here now, and he can just almost roll in calm, I think, here at this point. 3.8, I think he's got this in the bag to the point he can put his, pop a quick wheelie and set and done.
Yeah, I get to enjoy it, zip up, and show the sponsor, Restart Racing, as that's a done deal. This is going to be the race now. There's so many points here. Really, this is the race going on. That's going to be Perot now that we're looking at.
Jammers, Woody, Voulier, Nielsen,
you notice how close that was,
Victor, Schleil.
By the way,
that's your top 10 here. I know there's a lot of clicking around there. These corners here, the cameras, they have a tough time. The motorbikes, they don't really they can't really hold their position too well. The helicopters, I mean, everything is just out of control in that section.
Did you notice how close that was, though? Once they started really going at the end, the watts were just massive
It
back
goes to
there.
show
We'll
how
see how.
much the speed differentiations really come in, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, right. That's a perfect example of that we saw. But I agree with that. Congratulations to Jaden Yeager for what will be exclamation point here on race number 1 for restart. Now the question becomes, Nathan, did they do enough with the rest of the squad to pick up the points to put them on top of the table here after our first race of the season? These are the
Jay,
results from today
yeah,
in
Jane
the
Yeager,
individuals.
5 seconds, Dave. They brought it, as you
Daniel,
said, they
Daniel
brought
ends
it
up
down to
5th.
5 seconds. What an amazing kick there from it. Goes to show how much the speeds on the climbs like that can just, bam, take out that
Wait,
time so quickly.
and if the climb was another kilometer longer, right? I think how things might have changed. But what you see here, Nathan, too, is look at Daniel Jemrosik up in 5th. That's huge, huge points there. They might have done it today. They very well might take the win and the double dip team win as well. James Young for 2nd for Mutant. Great ride from James today. Joe Perot, Avis Lacole rider to Belgium in 3rd. Tom Burns is another Mutant rider from Belgium in 4th. I mentioned Daniel in 5th. Robert Wood in 6th for Innovation. Adrian Villiers in 7th, the French rider for Restart. Nathan, look at this. So they had Adrian up there as well. So very, very good job. Martin Nilsson in 8th, the Swede for Zed Sunderpants. But
Apologies.
it looks to me like no problem. But I have a feeling, Nathan, that Restart has done enough, especially with their finishing positions. Add all that up, they just had an incredible day, not only with Jaden, but with the team. Dries Lehan, Avis rider there, in 9th, right after Martin Nielsen from Zed Sunderpants, and then Victor Frank, the German, on Zed Sun, undermanned. We have a couple of Zed Sun teams out here.
We can maybe take a look
It's a great
at.
day.
Yeah, it's a really good
Great
day
day of
of
racing.
today. Really good day of racing. We can take a look also at the women's race real quickly because we did not get to take a look at those results earlier that we did watch. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at how that played out for
Lou
the
Bates, right?
ladies and the Lou Bates win.
That was a great one. Lika Nugent was so strong in the finale as well. Really made a great point that she's a rider to watch. Rachel Elliott holds on for 3rd. The legend is back and in full effect. Gabby Schumann has a great ride. And congratulations, Gabby, in 4th place. It's Sienna Hayes taking 5th, the Cryogen rider there out of Wales. Daniela Estrate, the Romanian for Aeonian. And Aeonian with 3 in a row here with Eva van Acht and Los Adagist is 6th, 7th, and 8th for Aeonian. Swedish Swifters, maybe not their greatest day in history, still 2 in the top 10. Asa Fast Berglund and Cornelia Engstrom making their way onto the table there. But Lou Bates, congratulations. Great ride today, Lou.
Let's take a quick look at the results then for the league. Sorry, we're reloading there real quickly. But here's what ended up going down for the overall for the league. This is from earlier today for the women's current standings after everybody finished things up. Team SZ actually made it happen, Dave.
Is that right?
The
There you
consistency.
go, right?
Consistency is key as
Isn't
they
it
stand
funny?
at the top.
And it's all about the intermediates along with the finish position as they do what they do so well. Aeonian for 2nd, the Dutch ladies in 3rd, Beast Mode 4th, Cryo 5th, Ravon 6th, R3R in 7th, Sox for Watts 8th. And so there's a good example, though. Lou Bates winning the race, Nathan, but their team in 7th. Swedish Swifters, they had 9th and 10th at the finish, and they won. So that really speaks to exactly what we talked about today.
FTS, look at the FTS points, Dave. Fastest through segment, 73 points.
So if someone said, Nathan, where was the race won? Right there, FTS points. I mean,
yep. 100%.
Boom.
100%. FTS ruling the day. No, let's take a look here then at how things. Now, this is going to be, I am going to give a quick little, just a qualifier that there are going to be single points out there still. There will be some riders still getting single point, and Restart was at the top just a moment ago. They were. and then Mutant overtook. And I think
To
people
be
are still
honest,
finishing up here.
with your qualifier, Nathan, it's not highly likely that this changes, to tell you the truth.
Probably not. No, I mean,
It's
look
cer
at those big differences.
it's certainly
Mutant really
possible.
dominated today when it comes to the
Yeah.
FTS. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100 to 29. Restart had 3 riders in the top 10 at the finish. Adrian Voulier, Daniel Jemrosic, and Jaden Yeager, but they didn't pick up those FTS points like Mutant did. A great example of what we've been talking about how it's a team event. Every rider matters. The fastest through segment points are critical. And we'll leave it at that. With that qualifier noted, Nathan, thank you for that. So Restart ends up winning the day, but not the race. They'll be in second. So really good, but Mutant taking the top 20 points. Avis Lacole consistent in third, Dutch Racing fourth, Zed Sunderpants in fifth, Innovation, DZR Coalition, Velociraptors, and Zed Sun Underman. That's your top 10 after week 1.
Top 10 after week 1, and we can take a quick look as to exactly why those kind of things go down when it comes to the sprints out there. This is the situation that these riders are working with for the FTS. As you do see in the Aqueduct, all the way toward the back, look at where Mutant is. All those green jerseys there. It's really, Dave, it goes to show what is really
They were loaded for Bear.
Completely loaded. They're sprinting from 44th place and then coming on all the way through.
So they sag. They purposely move themselves to the back of the group so that they can use the draft all the way through. Great video here showing you precisely how this tactic works. They're still catching major draft all the way through. Their nose is just about to touch the wind now, and that's how you execute out there. That's a great clinic they're putting on. Not everyone's a huge fan of this technique, but it's how you do it.
Yeah, look at the final roll through. I mean, that's where most of their points come through. Look at all the green jerseys rolling through from back all the way to the front.
This is your double dip now. So they're not only getting all the fastest through points, they're getting a lot of FAL points as well.
Exactly. So that's how the race was won, in my opinion, a lot of times when it comes to
easy. That's all you got to do, people. It's pretty simple.
Fastest through segment.
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal? All right, well, everybody, that is race number 1 for EMEA. Now, if you want to catch more Zwift racing for the Zwift Racing League, I know there's probably pushing 100 streams. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 50 to 100 people streaming their Zwift Racing, even right now, over on twitch.tv. Check out the Zwift directory because lots of people have taken up streaming their individual racing, and we are a huge proponent of community streamers. Get out there, get your streams shared up, and go and support those streamers. It's a big effort, and it's kind of fun, actually, to watch how people take on the races differently at all the different levels, too, Dave. When you go and you watch a stream with different goals in mind, right? Some of these teams, they show up to try and keep everybody together, hammer together, finish together. Others, they're in it for the win, and they have huge tactics play out in front of your face. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I completely agree. I would highly recommend Daniel Jemrosic if you're looking to a starter rider, right? He brings the content. He brings the heat.
He brings the content. He does bring the content. That's for sure. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow for Wednesday Worlds, and we will see you Thursday for the wrap. We're going to have a guest, Eric Schlange from Zwift Insider, to be talking about all the latest updates because there will be an update launching tomorrow. I'll be watching out for that. The Wednesday update is going to be a pretty cool one when it comes to Zwift. And then Friday, I think we've got some Grand Prix going on. So I believe, or we got Conti qualifiers. Excuse me.
Next week.
No, next week. Conti qualifiers going on this weekend, which will be broadcast. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done so, hit already. Comment, like, follow on all the Zwift Community Live spaces. We've been live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in. From me and Dave Towle, right on.